Trump-Ukraine drama, Vice President Mike Pence. The committees leading the impeachment probe sent a letter Friday requesting a laundry list of documents and communications to determine Pence's knowledge of Trump asking Ukraine to investigate 2020 rival Joe Biden.
Pence's office rejecting the request. Pence addressing supporters today in Kenner, Louisiana.
The Do Nothing Democrats launched a partisan impeachment inquiry in a blatant attempt to overturn the will of the American people in the last election.
In New York City, 4 homeless men killed overnight, another in critical condition in what police are calling random attacks. Witnesses say they saw a man striking the victims. NYPD Manhattan South Commanding Officer Michael Baldessano.
We did recover a weapon, a pipe, close by.
A suspect is in custody. In Hong Kong, after another day of violent protests, embattled leader Carrie Lam calling on citizens to condemn violence and reject rioters. She's also taking the heat for banning the wearing of face masks. You're listening to ABC News.
There's nothing like meeting face-to-face, and there's nothing like Zoom to make that happen. Zoom lets you connect and do business across town or around the world. Zoom ties together all of your communication needs into one easy platform for video conferencing, phone calls, group chat, webinars, and your conference rooms. Connect easily from anywhere, your mobile phone, your laptop, or conference room. Zoom is how business gets done. Get your free account at Zoom.com today. Meet happy with Zoom. There's nothing like meeting face-to-face, and there's nothing like Zoom to make that happen. Zoom lets you connect and do business across town or around the world. Zoom ties together all of your communication needs into one easy platform for video conferencing, phone calls, group chat, webinars, and your conference rooms. Connect easily from anywhere, your mobile phone, your laptop, or conference room. Zoom is how business gets done. Get your free account at Zoom.com today. Meet happy with Zoom.
President Trump issued a proclamation Friday suspending U.S. entry for certain immigrants who lack health insurance or the demonstrated ability to pay for health care. ABC's Michelle Franzen has more.
The proclamation states hospitals and other health care providers often give care to the uninsured, which results in fees that are passed on to taxpayers. Under the Trump administration's plan, immigrants would have 30 days to acquire health insurance. The rules are set to go into effect November 3rd. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
The plan grants exceptions for children returning U.S. residents, children of American citizens, and those with other certain types of visas. Football returns to London this weekend as the NFL ventures over for the first of 4 regular season clashes tomorrow. Game pitting the Chicago Bears against the Oakland Raiders. And ABC's Tom Rivers has seats right in the front row, or almost.
4 years with the Raiders, now with the Bears. Linebacker Khalil Mack is looking for a little payback in London.
It's another game, man. It's gonna be a fun one because I know a few of the guys out there, but it's gonna be a good one. Can't wait.
And he's here for a result, not to sightsee.
I'm here. I love the Bears, and we're gonna go out and try to get this win.
Mack has 17 sacks and 10 forced fumbles since joining the Bears last season, compared to a Raiders defense that has just 18 sacks and 8 forced fumbles from the entire unit. Tom Rivers, ABC News, London.
And this is ABC News.
What gives one company the edge over another? Maybe it's not one thing. Maybe it's taking care of lots of things that help a business run smoothly. In other words, Cintas. Cintas has products that help your people stay safe and apparel programs that convey the right image. They service fire protection equipment, deliver and stock restroom supplies, and make sure facilities are clean and ready. Because when all those things work together, you're in business.
Oh, I'm ready!
Get Cintas and get ready for the workday.
Dave Packer, ABC News.
From the KMET Weather Center for Beaumont and the Pass area for today, sunny, pleasant, high 85, west winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Winds become calm tonight with a clear low down to 57. Tomorrow, Sunday, sunny, high 88. North winds of 5 to 10 with gusts to 20 miles per hour. For the Inland Empire for today, sunny, high 88, west winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Palm Springs, sunny, high 94 with a light southeast wind. I'm TJ Matthews for Smart Talk 1490 KMET.
Take KMET 1490 AM with you everywhere you go by downloading our free smartphone apps found on the KMET website, KMET1490am.com. You can also go to the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store on your phone to download the free app. Now you can listen live or play any of your favorite programmers' podcasts using your smartphone. Don't miss out on the free KMET smartphone apps. Go to KMET1490am.com and download your free phone app today.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of radio station KMET, its management, employees, or affiliates.
Welcome back, Constitution Radio, Douglas V. Gibbs on KMET 1490 AM. I have with me Alex, Dennis, and Alan. For those of you watching on the video, you can tell it's a little brighter in here. Turn on the lights. It was just getting a little too dark and democratic for me in here, so I decided to brighten it up a little bit. Great having you on the air. Real quick, just a quick announcement on normally tonight would be the Constitution Association monthly meeting. We are not having the Constitution Association monthly meeting tonight in Temecula. It has been pushed to next Saturday so that I may attend the Liberty dinner. Plus, one of my board members is going to that dinner as well. So we pushed it to October 12th, and it's not going to be at the normal location, a regular location. It's going to be on Palba Road in Temecula at the Temecula Library, and the time is even changing. It'll begin at 3 o'clock rather than 5. But here's why it's so important. We, the nonprofit Constitution Association, are starting a program of Constitution clubs on middle school and high school campuses, and this is going to be our first major meeting. It's also our monthly Constitution Association meeting. Everyone is welcome. We're also instituting from now on at the beginning of our meetings, first half hour of all of our Constitution Association meetings, panel discussions on items regarding the U.S. Constitution. This not only will put the minds that are of the Constitution up front and for you to listen to, but also create a dynamic opportunity for you to participate in that discussion. So the first half hour of that meeting on October 12th will have a panel. Likely myself, the treasurer, George Rombach, and the vice president, Dennis Jackson, who is also a co-host on this radio program. We are going to talk about education and the Constitution, and I'm going to talk about Jefferson's attitude towards education. I think it'll be an educational experience for anybody who attends. There is no cost to walk in the door. This is a free monthly meeting for those who attend, but we do have a donation bucket if you want to help out with our costs. Tonight, I will be at the Liberty dinner for the Riverside County Republican Party. Sebastian Gorka is the speaker. Looking forward to it. I have seen him speak before. I've shaken his hand before, though I didn't have an opportunity to say much more than hello and goodbye. So while I did have a short 2-word conversation with him, hello, goodbye, I didn't get to say anything else. But nonetheless, I like to hear him speak. I think he's got a phenomenal mind, although I do believe also he's got one of his shoelaces dipped into the establishment. We'll see how tonight goes. I'll tell you about it next week. All right, that all said, we've been talking about due process and how due process has been abandoned during this impeachment push. Nancy Pelosi has all but denied the Republican Party any participation in the investigation, in the discussions, in the committees, while Republicans are required to have at least one Republican on these committees, 1 or 2, and they get to be in the room, maybe not, but they should be. From what I'm understanding, that's about as all they get. They don't have any say. They don't have any subpoena power. And it's kind of anti-American and anti-constitutional when it comes to the importance of due process in our system of rule of law. So once again, let me give you the essential elements of due process, and then I want to hand this off to my esteemed co-hosts. The essential elements of due process of law. By the way, if you have the book, The Basic Constitution by Douglas V. Gibbs, this is in your glossary. If you don't have the book, why haven't you bought it yet? Go to Amazon, go get The Basic Constitution, or go to an event where I'm at, and I should have copies of it with me, and you can purchase one and have it autographed. What a deal. $20 for that book. Due process. The essential elements of due process of law are notice, an opportunity to be heard, the right to defend in an orderly proceed, and an impartial judge. It is founded upon the basic principle that every man shall have his day in court, and the benefit of the general law which proceeds only upon notice, and which hears and considers before judgment is rendered. In short, due process means fundamental fairness and substantial justice. All right, I can hear all three of you kind of chomping at the bit. I'm not sure which one to go with first. Alan, since I've been picking on you last lately, let's let you go first on this one. We've got due process of law has completely been discarded by the Democrat Party when it comes to this impeachment push. I don't want to call it articles of impeachment yet because they haven't even done any votes or anything about it. It's just, oh, we want to impeach. We want to impeach. That's all it really is. But any chance for due process of law, any chance for participation by Trump's team or Trump's political party, the Republican Party, has pretty much been tossed out the window. What's your thoughts, sir?
We're back to the basics. Art of misdirection. If you don't really have something on someone, but you want it to appear as if you do, because you want to discredit that person, that business, that entity, then you make a big noise about it. You don't allow what you're talking about is due process, which allows you to continue to make the big show. This is terrible. This is rotten. This person must be impeached. But we don't even talk about what impeachment means. And it goes on and on, knowing that ultimately, regardless of what the House does, it's going to be decided in the Senate. And they're not going to be able to run roughshod over this whole process in the Senate. Therefore, this is about the big show. They did the big show with the Mueller report. How did that go? That didn't work out too well, did it? So now we have to find something else, because what this really is telling me is the Democratic Party is so desperate for attention, they will do anything and everything to get their name out there, trying to get people to believe that the current administration is evil. The only way to save the country is to go Democratic, but we're not going to do anything according to the rule of law, and you're not going to know it because we're not going to tell you about it. And the mainstream media, they're not going to tell you either.
Well, the rule of law means fairness, and they don't want to be fair to their opposition.
Well, they want to be fair to themselves.
Right. No, they want what they want. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go with Alex here. Alex, due process has been tossed out the window by Nancy Pelosi and her fellow Dems. What are your thoughts?
Doesn't Mitch McConnell have a controlling function here?
Well, not until he gets to the Senate. The Senate is not a part of this yet.
Yeah,
right now, it's totally the House's show.
What I mean is that even if they clear it in the House, McConnell could stop it in the Senate.
Well, yeah, the Senate could basically. That's going to come down to a vote, though. But yeah, there's enough Republicans that could say, you know what, we're not going to try the case because see, impeachment is simply the charge. That's all the House has. See, Pelosi's acting like impeachment means removal from office and everything, and they could just do it all themselves, and they don't even need the Senate. That's the way she's acting. And the fact is, the sole power of impeachment does belong to the House, but that means they can charge him. But the trial goes to the Senate, which, by the way, used to be appointed by the state legislatures. The trial would have been totally different and even more lopsided against these knuckleheads if 17th Amendment had never been put in place. But that's a whole different discussion. So she can bark and do all that they're doing right now, all they want, but that doesn't do anything. All it does is charge him. Say, hey, we think you should be removed from office. But the actual apparatus that's in place to do that is a hearing by the U.S. Senate. There's no way they're going to get what they want. They're not going to remove him that way.
But it's a way to dirty Trump. They can refer to him now as the impeached president if they do it in the House. They can refer to him as the impeached president and use that against him as if it was a negative in the next election.
No, surely, exactly. Oh, absolutely, no doubt. And they think that would hurt him, but I believe that would actually help him. I believe that would encourage his base to all the more be out to vote for him.
Well, they're in the position of throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks. And so far, nothing is stuck. But that doesn't nullify their motive to keep throwing stuff at the wall in the outside chance that something will stick.
Right. All right, Dennis, what are your thoughts when it comes to due process and impeachment?
Well, I think the letter that Kevin McCarthy wrote to Pelosi was really quite telling. He went through a lot of it where the presidential lawyer should be there, like on 4 or 5 different subject lines, of which, of course, he's not invited at all. I'm just kind of curious if they don't really think there's going to be a vote and they're just grandstanding. What happens if they don't even show up? The Republicans just do something else. I mean, I guess they ought to be in the committee so they can hear what's being said. But, playing to the host who doesn't want you at his table for dinner, I mean, just wondering, do you stick around or what do you do? But they're pushing her. They're trying to get her to do something. But, she's not going to be civil and open this thing up.
Well, they think if they do this right, they've got him. You remember, in their minds, the only reason he's in office is because of, suppression of voter, vote, the suppression of the vote. That's, they can't fathom that there's enough Americans that agree with his policies. This is a socialist country as far as they're concerned. We've made the left turn as far as they're concerned. And they've got the largest voting bloc now. The millennials in this upcoming election will represent the largest voting bloc. It'll be larger than the baby boomers and the generation right behind the baby boomers, which is mine. So they think they've got it all. All they got to do is say, hey, look, see, now he's been impeached too. He's such a crook. And everybody's like, oh my gosh, I can't vote for him. Okay, it's whoever Hillary Jr. is, and
what
they're living in a fantasy land. Say again, Alex. Or I'm sorry, not Alex. I mean Dennis.
I say, what year was Clinton impeached?
Clinton was the impeachment was initiated October 8th, 1998, by the House. And they voted to commence the impeachment against Bill Clinton, 42nd president, for high crimes and misdemeanors. And they had 2 articles of impeachment, lying under oath and obstruction of justice.
Lying under oath was the big one.
All stemming from a sexual harassment lawsuit filed by Paula Jones.
Right.
On December 18th, Clinton became the second American president to be impeached. The other was Andrew Johnson. The trial in the Senate began in January 1999. And the vote on it was on Article 1, 45 senators voted to convict, 55 said no. But think about it. 45 said.
Yeah, it's not a large margin of difference there.
And
not a large margin of error for him.
And that was on the
and this is a Republican dominated. Well, this was a Republican dominated Senate at the time, was it not?
That I don't know. And then on obstruction from justice, the vote was 50-50. Now, if let's say the current president gets impeached, which means the House says.
Now remember, it needs 2/3 though. We talk about 45 and 50. So 50-50. Then why didn't they?
Yeah,
2/3. It needs 2/3. But that's still a large number of people saying, "Hey,
the
guy's a dirtbag. He's guilty."
The thing is okay. Clinton, one of the faves of the left, got impeached, went to a Senate trial. And it was the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court who presided over it. Okay, if you're going to slam the current president because he gets impeached, well, you're going to be putting him in the same hole as Clinton. I don't see how they're going to do that.
Now it was lying under oath, which is absolutely a crime. Trump has done no such thing. Obstruction of justice, which they tried to get with Trump, and it wasn't working. So what they've done is they've come up with something new. So we're going to take a break. We're going to talk about what the something new is. It's a call between him and the president of the Ukraine. And the renditions are interesting. There's what Schiff said, and then there's what the transcript actually says. And we're going to talk about what it all means. So let's go to break, and then let's examine Adam Schiff's rendition.
Help me fight the good fight. This radio program is funded by advertising dollars. So, if you are a business, add Constitution Radio with Douglas V. Gibbs to your business portfolio. If you are a listener, become a patron of the businesses advertising on this program. Without advertising, your weekend dose of truth ends. With more advertising, Constitution Radio with Douglas V. Gibbs grows, and we will be on the way to win the battle to restore the Republic. To learn more, email us at constitutionspeaker@yahoo.com or visit douglasvgibbs.com. Our records indicate that you've been lied to. Listen to the truth. Constitution Radio with Douglas V. Gibbs, Saturdays at 1 p.m. on KMET.
You got a dent in your door, a scratch in your fender, or a scratch in your door and a dent in your fender. If you need auto detailing, if you need fire shooting decals on the side of your car, if you need a rally stripe right down the middle of your hardtop, I don't care what it is. The Patriots at All-Star Collision are the place you want to go. They're the only place to go. 522 Railroad Street in Corona. Web address allstarci.com to see all that they do and what they're all about. Phone number 951-279-9161. All-Star Collision, the kings of wreck and roll.
Hello, listeners. This is Christopher from The Christopher Show. Hey, if you missed one of our shows here at KMET, don't worry about it. You can go to our webpage, and that's KMET1490am.com. Go to the homepage, click on the SoundCloud tab, and hear any show anytime you want.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Our records indicate you've been lied to. Welcome to the truth. Douglas V. Gibbs.
All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
Lock and load.
Hey, I think that we ought to see if we can get a rock band to, instead of having a drummer, just have a guy out there for the beat with firearms, so that the beat is, just the guns. Wouldn't that be great if the beat of the song was just firearms? Maybe throw an explosion every once in a while, for what would normally be for the bass down there with the foot, so it's boom, or something. I don't know. I think that'd be a popular rock band. All right, welcome back, Constitution Radio with Douglas V. Gibbs. Having a little fun here. I tell you what. All right, are you ready, Sean? I'm going to say it. Lock and load. I just love that sound. All right. The average person only knows that the Democrats are claiming that a conversation between President Donald Trump and the president of the country of Ukraine is supposed to be grounds for impeachment. The Democrats finally think they have something that sticks. And a devastating interpretation of the phone call by Democrat Party Representative Adam Schiff, I hate to say, but he is, yes, a Californian, was the final convincing evidence needed in their minds. The public is all over it because of what Schiff said, except Schiff lied, and he even admits that. And the evidence, in other words, the actual transcript, which I don't think after Schiff did this garbage, I don't think they expected the Trump administration to release the transcript of that phone call like they did immediately. And they did. And the transcript says nothing. Even CNN went through it all and basically said, well, Schiff was full of garbage on almost everything he said. Even CNN agrees Adam Schiff is, full of donkey do. And so he was attempting to defraud the American public. And that's what Trump said. Adam Schiff, quote unquote, Adam Schiff therefore lied to Congress and attempted to defraud the American public. That's Trump's exact words. Schiff introduced his comments at 2 Thursdays ago, a committee hearing, by saying that he would be outlining the, quote, essence of what the president communicates, unquote, not providing the exact transcribed version of the call, but what he said the president was actually saying. And then later on, he went ahead and said something along the words of parody and all that. But in short, it's Orwellian doublespeak, newspeak, language shuffling, whatever you want to call it. And after everyone took Schiff's remarks as being the gospel truth, and after the media ran with it, to his surprise, the Trump administration released the transcript immediately, as I said a moment ago. And he was caught in the lie, and he knew it. But he played the game. He defended what he had to say. He did not make clear which words were taken directly from Trump's comments in the rough transcripts and which words were his own analysis. That's for us to figure out, I guess. And which words were meant to be the quote-unquote comedic parody he later said he was intending. It's like I remember my kids, and they get caught, saying something or doing something that they shouldn't. They say, well, it was just a joke. No, it wasn't. You got caught. Just admit it. As a high-profile part of the hearing 2 Thursdays ago, this is a key member of the Democrat Party pushing for impeachment who's given us a parody regarding the transcript. Really? The presentation was intended to be believed. It was intended to be taken as if it was the whole truth and nothing but the truth. It was intended to establish in the public eye anger against our president. While Schiff called the president's role in the conversation with the Ukrainian president, quote, a classic organized crime shakedown, unquote, which, by the way, is a subjective matter of opinion, the reality is that the accusation regarding using political sway to influence Biden's Ukrainian prosecutor situation or to make up dirt on my political opponent is a bunch of hogwash. It was never said, and the transcript confirms such. Basically, Trump and Zelensky had a conversation 4 days before Zelensky's party had won a historical victory. So, of course, our president was in contact with him. And during their conversation, they brought up Biden. At no point, however, did the president say or threaten Ukraine with aid or something if they didn't do something, as the Democrats are claiming. Listen carefully to the conversation. It is clear. In fact, I break down that entire transcript on an article I wrote last Thursday called Schiff Lied, Liberty Died, Biden and Gang is Corrupt, which the title really says it all. And I use a lot of analysis with the help of the Daily Signal, and I have a link to that in the article. But ultimately, what happened was they had a conversation. Biden got brought up in it, the younger and the elder Biden. The situation that they're talking about, in which a prosecutor was fired thanks to elder Biden using his political strength and office when he was vice president. And really, to me, that's the criminality right there. And then they talked about a few other things, like how the rest of Europe is not, looking out for Ukraine, and they're not really Ukraine's friends like the United States is, and how Zelensky, the Ukrainian president, said, "Hey, I'm just wanting to drain the swamp here too." That's really all the conversation was. Nothing more, nothing less. And yet, and I know the Democrats didn't like the conversation because it didn't work in favor of any globalist agenda. It was, and it basically said Angela Merkel of Germany and Emmanuel Macron of France is not the good friend allies that they claim to be, kind of thing. And remember also, there were harsh words about Russia, essentially, too, because Russia's attacked Ukraine, took Crimea, and Democrats are not going to like that either, because deep down they're upset because there's the lack of sanctions against Russia is part of what was in the conversation, and the Democrats don't like this because deep down Russia has never been an enemy to them. They've always admired Russia. Going back to Senator Ted Kennedy during the Reagan years, a Democrat who was in contact with the KGB in the hopes of derailing Reagan's election. Or you can go back 100 years for that matter. You can go back to the McCarthy era, in which the communists were infiltrating our country and our entertainment system, our political system, and we knew it. And somehow the communists ridiculed that effort. And they're still infiltrated in our system. They're called Democrats. But and it's interesting because then the only other thing really that got brought up in the conversation was Crowdstrike, and it was mentioned kind of offhandedly. That's the U.S.-based internet security company that reviewed the hacking of the DNC computers and determined it was conducted by two groups affiliated with the Russian government. And that's what dragged the Democrats' claim into this whole thing, that Trump or his campaign conspired with Russians to gain advantage in the 2016 election. And then the special counsel Robert Mueller's final report said investigators found no such conspiracy. So, and basically what the Democrats are saying with this impeachment and all along with Mr. Trump is, we have no evidence of your collusion with Russia, Mr. Trump, but we are intent on punishing you for daring to resist being punished for it. Ultimately, that's what's going on. But you listen carefully to this transcript, you read through this transcript, none of the things that the Democrats are saying would criminalize or serve as a reason for charging President Trump for anything is in there. However, there's all kinds of stuff in there that reminds us of what's been going on regarding the Bidens and the Democrats and their crony capitalism or cronyism, where they're using their political might to influence the corporate system and their corporatism to influence the political system, and how that type of corruption is going on behind closed doors with the Bidens and the other Democrats. Imagine if instead of Biden's son being on some board of a energy company in the Ukraine without knowing the language and without having any experience in energy or venture capitalism. Imagine if that had been one of Trump's sons. Well, they'd be all over this, but they're wanting you to not notice what happened with the Bidens by using this as something against Trump instead of pointing to what is going on with the Bidens. And that's what really irritates me. I guess it's the hypocrisy, but it's typical Democrat Party stuff, right? This is what they do. All right, gentlemen, this is what I've had to say about all of this. I know Mr. Ferguson has been glued to the newsreels about this, and so I'm going to have him begin this conversation. Schiff lied, Liberty died, the Biden and gang is corrupt. They've got nothing for impeachment out of this transcript. And once again, I think Trump surprised them by releasing that transcript immediately. What's your thoughts about all of this, Mr. Ferguson?
Well, I just wrote a poem that deals with the 1930s and 40s penetration of the American government of the New Deal by agents of Stalin. And it's interesting to me the way these snakes change their skin.
Right.
The spokesman for the Democrats on this issue of Russia and Russian penetration is Carl Bernstein. I wrote an essay called Carl Bernstein in the FBI, in which I documented that he came from a family that he personally described as 100% communist, and that he not only folded envelopes for the Rosenberg's Defense Committee, but he picketed the White House. He was 100% solid.
So you're saying the leftists today are using the same tactics that they were using back then, no, right?
I'm saying that the hypocrisy is enormous. And Bernstein published this book, his memoirs, his parents' memoirs, really. He published it before the release of the Benoni tapes, proved that the spying was going on as much as or more than Joe McCarthy said it was going on.
Well, and on the point of the attack, though, on the impeachment, President Trump is being accused of saying, Ukraine, we won't give you military aid unless you do this for me, unless you investigate Biden for me, and so on and so forth. And reading the transcript, neither man mentioned military aid to the Ukraine, and that might hang in the balance.
I've called them hallucinationists. They hallucinate these things. They make them up.
So they hear what they want to hear, even though it was never said. Well, it's just like Black Lives Matter. If you think that everybody around you is racist, no matter what they say, it's going to sound racist to you. If you decided that Trump is this and he's that, you're going to hear it regardless of whether or not it was actually said. I mean, that's what I'm getting from you. Is that what you mean?
More important, they're actually using the real perpetrators to accuse our side of doing what they do, which again is projection. They're not only hallucinationists, they're projectionists. They're projecting
hypocrisy, projection, and you've got a phone call between Ukraine's new president, President Trump, a typical phone call between leaders, and yet they find all of these smoking guns in it. I'm confused. The hypocrisy, you're right. The hypocrisy is what really gets me on this.
We've got a treaty with Ukraine which says that we will help each other in terms of cleaning up corruption.
Right.
In order to fulfill his obligation to serve the Constitution, Trump had to do what he did.
Right. All right. Yeah, we've got Dennis. We've got a Democrat Party is saying, "Oh no, there's all kinds of impeachable offenses in this conversation." Dennis, I've gone through the transcript, and as Alex and I just talked about, there's nothing there. There's no there. But yet they've got a large portion of the public, according to polls, saying they favor impeachment over this. There's no there.
Yeah, I'm just so out of patience with these guys. We were talking earlier about the rule of law and accountability. Well, to get the law to be ruled right, you have to determine what the facts are. And of course, the facts have got nothing to do with what they're doing. Adam Schiff, you were talking earlier about his comments. these weren't just his comments. This was national TV, all of the major media. He's the chairman. It's the opening statement. Everybody's wondering about the tone. And other than 4 or 5 words at the beginning where he kind of says in a way to give him coverage, he says, in effect, this is what he says, and slanders the whole thing. And at the end, he doesn't say, oh, I'm just kidding. You know how sometimes in class I'll make a sarcastic comment and people have to wait a second to figure out if what I'm saying is really true or not, you know?
Right. Yeah.
You don't do that. You don't do that on national TV at the opening of a hearing you're the chairman of, and set a tone based on falsehoods. And President Trump went after him, and he should have. But there's no shame, you know, with liars. And how the American people can really get to the truth, it's out there. Obviously, we're talking about it. A lot of people are.
Well, I think the president is dismantling a lot of this. That's why they're freaking out and trying to stop him. But the question is, who gets to the finish line first?
Well, yeah, and then when Trump does something that isn't, quote, civil, you got guys like Romney that are calling him down. Romney ought to be calling down Schiff, at least equally.
I can't figure Romney out at all. I can't figure him out at all. But yeah, he should be. He should be all over Schiff. Let me move this for time reasons. Let me move this over to Alan. Alan, the image I put at the top of the page for the post of today's show, I think sums all of this up. Hillary Clinton said this in 2016. It's her quote, and it says, "Laws are for little people."
Well, she's not that tall, so I'm not sure who she's referring to.
Well, they think they're above the law, or maybe they are to a point. The way things have been working out, and they're not supposed to be. But you know, they think that the laws don't apply to them. They are the ruling elite, and it's just a matter of time before they have complete power, and the Trumps of the world and the Republicans of the world will be eliminated. But until then, folks, you're just going to have to put up with all the shenanigans. But, you know, the laws don't apply to us because we are superior. I mean, that's kind of how I see it coming from them.
When you're in a position where you can lie, cheat, and steal and never be held accountable, then they are being actually, for the first time, they're being honest. The laws don't apply to them. What I'm getting out of all of this, and you know how I like to really define words or not misuse them when I can. The term transcript is used for this conversation. For me, transcript is a legal document taken down word for word of everything that everybody says, usually by some type of court reporter, court stenographer. This is not a transcript. This is a memorandum of telephone conversation. The highlights are taken down, but this is not every word. This was a 30-minute phone call on July 25th, 2019 between these two presidents. The upshot of it is, as you've pointed out, there's no smoking gun. There's no there. There's a lot of politeness, a lot of respect, no threatening, no demanding. Yet, in a way, this is fabulous. If this is
showing how lawless the Democrats are, in my opinion.
Exactly. If people will take the time to actually read this memorandum and then put it together with what the people out there are saying about that, and that this is so bad that we get to impeach the president of the United States, which means to bring him up on charges. They have just spun, you know, the reality that they're nuts. They're
Marxists. And Representative Tlaib has gone so far. Tlaib, is that how you say her name? Tlaib, I think it is. Muslim representative of the House, says that Democrats are actually looking for ways to arrest White House officials over this. I'm like, over what? There's no there.
You have to remember
that's the last thing. This is another thing that's coming out. You have enough people in this country, and they're good people, and they're hardworking, and they're trying, but they've placed so much faith in the system, a system that they don't check, they don't verify, they don't ask for facts, they don't ask for proof. Somehow, if it comes out of somebody's mouth, out of the House or out of the Senate, and they're slamming the President of the United States or his administration, it must be gospel. Therefore, I don't have to do any more investigation. I will believe the lie.
All right, Alex wanted to get a final word in, then we'll go to break. Alex, go ahead.
Yeah, you got to remember that these supporters of the Democrats have the IQ of a garden slug. They've gone through the American system of education, which puts us at the bottom of first world countries in terms of quality of the education. It's just not there. All you have to do is look at the tape where Joe Biden talks about getting the prosecutor fired in Ukraine. That is quid pro quo. That is everything that they're accusing Trump of doing, and it's right there. And you know, if you can't see it, you got your eyes closed.
All right, let's go to break, but let me set up what we're going to talk about after the break. A couple weeks ago, a friend of mine called me up and says, hey, Doug, there's getting ready to be a currency reset, and when that happens, if you were to purchase this particular currency or this particular currency, these monies from these countries, Vietnam, Dong, and the Iraq, I can't remember the name of it now, that you could become very rich because the value of those currencies are going to go sky high compared to what they are before the reset. But it's a currency reset that's going to happen. Now, I decided not to purchase because I wasn't necessarily positive that this currency reset was going to happen. First of all. Second of all, I wasn't sure the currency reset would necessarily mean that type of riches. Let's talk about what is a currency reset and what was there a currency reset and what would happen if there was one. And good thing we got Alan with us because he's going to help guide us through that. So when we return after this break, our final topic, was there a currency reset? Don't go anywhere.
Help me fight the good fight. This radio program is funded by advertising dollars. So, if you are a business, add Constitution Radio with Douglas V. Gibbs to your business portfolio. If you are a listener, become a patron of the businesses advertising on this program. Without advertising, your weekend dose of truth ends. With more advertising, Constitution Radio with Douglas V. Gibbs grows, and we will be on the way to win the battle to restore the Republic. To learn more, email us at constitutionspeaker@yahoo.com or visit douglasvgibbs.com. The Constitution Association's website is at constitutionassociation.com. Constitution Association believes that the Constitution is the solution and the real hope for America. Be a hero in America's story. Make a difference. Protect, preserve, promote, restore the Constitution. Reclaim the Republic. Make America constitutional again. ConstitutionAssociation.com. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization.
The true patriots of All-Star Collision have been proudly serving the Inland Empire for over 20 years. Built on honesty, integrity, quality, and old-fashioned customer service, we offer lifetime warranties for our work, and every vehicle serviced by All-Star Collision is washed, detailed, the headlights polished, fluids are checked and topped off, safety checked, and returned in showroom condition. We offer free estimates, are approved by major insurance companies, and accept all claims for all cars and trucks. We use computerized frame straightening to factory specifications, offer fiberglass body repair and paint, free local pickup and delivery, and after-hours towing. Mention this radio program at drop-off and receive $100 off or a free rental car for up to 5 days during your repair. Visit us at allstarci.com or at 522 Railroad Street in Corona. Call us at 951-279-9161. We are the kings of wreck and roll.
I'm having way too much fun with the gunshots, I tell you. All right, currency reset. Currency reset. Last time there was a currency reset, it was 47 through 49 that was going on. Basically, what happened is Britain, after this currency reset, because of some economic difficulties they were having, and I think maybe even punishment by the bankers after they didn't distribute the land in accordance with the Balfour Declaration regarding Israel the way they were supposed to. I think it was punishment, but nonetheless, the British currency went to blah, blah, and they stopped being the world reserve currency. The strongest currency after that emerged was, the American currency, and the American currency has been the reserve currency ever since. So when most people talk about a currency reset, that's what they're talking about. They're talking about where there's so much upheaval in the system that a new currency grabs that throne. And that hasn't happened yet, although there's a lot of people predicting it will happen or should have happened already, and that it could create upheaval in the economic markets and the financial markets, and actually that some currencies will rapidly rise in value while others will crash. Now, to help explain all of this and explain it better than I just did, and really put a little sense to it, we've got our money guy on with us, Alan. Please, Alan, don't say currency reset. I don't know what you mean. What do you mean? Please don't do that. And I had a feeling you would be at least partially up on this. So was there a currency reset, or do you think there will be?
One, there has not been a currency reset, because if there was, you would have heard about it.
Well, yeah, there'd be an awful lot of people on Wall Street jumping out of buildings is what would be happening.
Could be. A reset is when, it can be national, it can be international. The part of it is that one big reset that took place was out of World War II and the Bretton Woods event getting together, and that's when the U.S. dollar became the global reserve currency. And in part, that was because at the time the U.S. was in possession of most of the world's gold supply.
Now, real quick, just for the layman out there, global reserve currency, is there a way to explain what that means to the average person out there?
Being the reserve currency, the world's reserve currency, is that most currencies, one way or another, are denominated in a value related to the U.S. dollar.
And the U.S. dollar is used for most transactions for like oil and things like that. So everything's converted to.
That's why it is called the petrodollar. Right. That came out of Carter's time.
Well, it's sort of like English being the language of aviation. I mean, if we were to have a language reset, it would become some other language.
Right. If you're flying internationally, English is the language being used between pilots and tower, and pilots and
so
control.
That's the world reserve language, so to speak, when it comes to aviation. Right. So that's what it is with the American dollar when it comes to currency. It's kind of the same type of situation. Okay, so it could have real quick, Alex, did you want to add something there, or are you just adjusting?
I was adjusting.
Okay. I could hear him. See, I try to be mindful of the two gentlemen on the phone, Dennis and Alex, because sometimes it's hard for them to interrupt those of us that are, more or less in studio and in a more direct line with KMET. So that's the reason why, folks, if you're listening, I do that sometimes. I want to make sure they have a fair shake to have something to say, and sometimes it's hard for them to intercede or interrupt. All right, so could there be a currency reset in the sense of something global where the American position as the reserve currency could be disrupted or eliminated?
Could it happen? Yes. Is it hope to happen? Yes. And this is this big push into, for lack of a better term, crypto or electronic monies.
So we're not talking like China or something then?
What do you mean?
Well, a lot of people are saying, well, since China's economy's been growing so much,
no, it hasn't.
They're going to replace our currency as a world reserve currency. But of course, they've not exactly been healthy lately economically. But that's kind of been the thing.
China is economically is not growing. It's actually going backwards.
Okay.
One of the things that isn't talked about with China, people keep talking about GDP and this is the number to track, and China has this huge GDP year after year. There's another figure that is not discussed that really needs to be discussed. It's called the capital utilization rate.
Mm-hmm.
And what that means is, okay, you made all of this stuff. How much of it did you sell or use? Well, China's big GDP comes from it builds buildings, roads, whatever,
right.
And they never get used. The never used apartment buildings, the never used multi-story malls. The actual, if you look at China's capital utilization rate, it's really low. But the real push, of course, is to get, and people have been bold enough to talk about it, they want a global currency. Well, you want a global currency, not a national currency, because that pushes the globalist agenda.
So you're saying that some type of global currency may replace the American dollar as the reserve currency. And once again, they're also pushing for the cyber stuff. They would rather be able to create money with the push of a button rather than, and then in fact, they don't even want paper currency or coin currency or anything to be out there. They want everything electronic. It's easier to monitor, control, and even limit the accumulation of wealth that way.
Absolutely. This is my big beef against cryptos and other just fully electronic money. When you only have one choice, you have no options.
Right.
And to access electronic money, you have to have a computer access, internet, and electricity. Any one of those fails,
your money goes
done. You're done. The other thing is, if all your monetary wealth is sitting in a computer somewhere, you don't know where the computer is, you have no direct access to it, and your access can be limited, as people in, for example, Greece and Cyprus experienced, you're hosed.
And then if it's in the cloud, God knows how many government hands are all over it.
Whether it's the cloud or either way, it's still a physical computer.
Right.
This push
and the accumulation of wealth now is also monitored and can be limited. I mean, if I've got cash and gold coins, silver coins, and certificates, and I can have those physically in my hands, I can accumulate wealth. It's something that I possess, whether there's electricity or not, and they're not necessarily monitoring all of it. So I can accumulate my wealth without surveillance state watching it, so to speak.
You can accumulate when you cannot accumulate monetary wealth physically.
I hate to say this, we just ran out of time.
Okay.
We've had so much fun talking about this, we ran out of time. But guess what? There's another show next week. So we'll see you right here on KMET. United we stand, combined we kick butt. God bless America. God bless you. See you next week.
The preceding was a paid program. Views and claims expressed